Deputy Prime Minister, tell us a little bit about yourself, and particularly when you were at our age in secondary school. Where did you go to school?
First, James, may I start by saying hi to everybody in this room? Hi, how are you all? You're all doing well? And you've had a great 2 weeks. Thanks to James Mwangi and Equity Bank. I think they deserve a round of applause, don't you? He never told me this was to be interactive. I thought I was just going to stand on the podium and then just sit down. So I'm a little bit embarrassed, but that's neither here nor there.
It's okay.
But let me say that, yeah, born in the same year, 1961. But I was made in another place, closer towards Samburu. I was born in Gatundu here. I went to school in Nairobi, St. Mary's School. I think had an interesting time, both in primary, especially in secondary school. It was an opportunity for me at that stage also to interact with people from different parts of the world and different parts of this country, especially. And I think there's one thing that we all learned in high school. And unfortunately, we're not able to carry it through. In high school, your colleague was your brother or your sister. You didn't care whether they were black, green, or yellow, Luo, Kamba, Kikuyu. You were brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you, if there is a lesson we need to learn, is how do we maintain that through our high school education and all the way through to old age. And I promise you, shall we do that, we have the greatest country in the entire world called Kenya. And I think, to me, that experience is an experience I've carried, is an experience I've lived with, and is an experience I would want to share, especially with this group sitting right here.
Deputy Prime Minister, in one of my readings in the newspapers, I found as if you got a prize in, was it in history?
It was in history. And I was given by my current boss when he was guest of honor like I am here today. He came to our school. I was in Form 4. History was one of the best subjects I have. I'm a scholar of history and politics. Those are my two loves. History and politics, because I believe a country or anybody, you are a factor of, first and foremost, your history. You must know where you have come from to know where you are and to know where you want to go. And from that time to date, history, politics, I think guide me in what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I believe looking back helps us reflect on where we have been, where we don't want to go, and indeed to visualize what kind of a society we would like to live.
We all perceive you to have been born in a loyal family. But when we look at you, you seem to be down to earth and ordinary. How do you reconcile these two?
Unfortunately, you didn't have a museo like mine. Mine ulikuwa kali bwana. You know, you had to stand on your own 2 feet. You had to make your own life. I remember there was one particular stage, you know, when I think I was in standard, you know, it was the old days when it was standard 6, you know, through to 7 to do your CPE. I was in boarding. One evening, you know, the standard 7s decided now they were going to root us out in the evening. Na tukaona vibaya sana, tulipigwa vibaya sana. So now when we headed back to the dormitories, my colleague said, how can we be beaten like this by these guys and your father is president of... So they put a lot of pressure on me. How can we be handled like this? Your father is president and these people are beating us like this. It's not possible. So they put pressure on me, they put pressure. Anyway, tukaenda kwa call box wakasema, you must tell them how watu lazima wapigwe. They cannot handle us and treat us in this manner. So I didn't want to let my colleagues down, so we went to the coin box. You know, those days, you know, tulikuwa tunajua system ya kuiweka ndio unapiga free kidogo. Tukaifanya. Nikapiga Katundu simu. So I decided now I put on my mournful face. So, mzee anachukua, it's about 9:30 at night. So I tell him, you know, we have really been mishandled, tumepigwa. Na mambo hapa, you know, I don't know why they're doing this to us. You know, we need help. These people are going to kill us. You know, we really need help. You know, I want to come home now because even I don't even know how I'm going to go back to that dormitory. After a while, I got tired. You know, I've complained, I've said my problems. And all I'm just hearing is this, so I decided to keep quiet. So akaniuliza, kuna kitu ingine? So I said, no. And he said, learn to fight your own battles. Kukulung. Now, here I am, outside the coin box. You know, my friends are standing there eagerly. So, you know, now I had to now put on a face that, you know, I've done something, you know. So I told them, you people don't worry. Action is going to happen immediately. Let us go back to the rooms and pass the word. Watu wanakuja leo jioni kuhandle wale watu huko. So luckily, anyway, it managed to panic the standard sevens. But in reality, there was nothing that was going to happen after that. So you learn to stand and you learn to fight on your own 2 feet. And that's what's made me who I am today.
You mean your parents were exactly like our parents?
I think in some cases they might have even been worse, especially in terms of discipline and order.
The first president of the Republic of Kenya, the legendary Kenyatta, how much did he influence you as his son to join politics? Well, did you also take the eloquence that we all associate you with from him?
Well, maybe in the genes, but in terms of learning politics from him, I was a very young man when he was both president. I mean, he passed away when I was in Form 4, so I can't really say that I learned a lot of politics from him, but I was a man I respected because he was a man of honor and a man of his word.
Sure?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Honorable Uhuru. Let's go. One thing that puzzles us as scholars here is being born in a loyal family. What made you think of joining politics and not enjoy the inheritance of your father quietly? What made you join politics, where we can call you names?
I didn't join politics immediately. I think after I finished my high school, I went to study in the United States for a period of time. I came back. I worked for a short while with Kenya Commercial Bank.
Oh, you worked in Kenya Commercial Bank?
Yes.
And that's what we want to understand. Why live ordinary life when we didn't perceive you to be ordinary?
I was a teller in Kipande House branch.
Kipande House branch?
On Kenyatta Avenue.
How was it about balancing cash?
Well, I can assure you it wasn't an easy thing. But at the end of the day, it taught you how to stand up, to earn a salary, and to stand up on your own without necessarily having a shadow behind your back. And from there, I worked with them for a while, I left, and then I started my own business selling vegetables. And I grew a company, James. You're not the only one who's grown a company. I grew a company from one small pickup. I used to sell French beans. We used to collect beans all the way from Meru, coming down, and we used to package and export. A company called Uhuru Kenyatta Limited. And I built it over a period of time. And eventually sold it after about 10 years for a healthy profit. And It was that time that I slowly now started entering some of the family business. And then from there, felt that I was not getting what I really wanted to get out of life. And I felt that there was something I needed to contribute in life. And there was something in me. I had a very close association with people like Kenneth Matiba, who at that time was a minister in government. And he was a kind of a mentor to many of us. And he used to engage us a lot in politics. He was a very active man in those days, if you will recall. And he would call us at some times and say, let's go and play squash. And after the squash game, he would engage your mind, tell you why you're wasting your time. You know you need to do something, you need to return something to society, and push us and drive us. And he really built a lot of interest in politics for me. And from there we started working very closely together. And you know, this is once you're in, you're in. You can't. It's difficult to pull out. And it was at that stage I decided I want to leave business, and I want to make politics and being in leadership and making a contribution a full-time activity. And I've been in politics now for since 1994 to date. So some people look at me and say, oh, huyu mtu aliingia tu siasa, aliletwa tu na kikombe. Hawajui kule tulianza. Tumeanza zamani. And far. First and foremost, it's not generosity.
I say generosity because in the past, only 18 to 20% development budget.
Our teachers, we pay. Our health workers, we pay. Our civil servants, we pay. Sisi hakuna shilingi ya mzungu ambaye nalipa mwalimu katika Kenya hii.
You have driven me into politics and I will hold you to it.
Do you read our papers? You know, these days I don't even buy newspapers. I save those shillings these days. It's not even worth it. It's just full of who said what, who did what. What Kenyans want is to see real hard development agenda that moves their careers and lives ahead, that helps us achieve our vision and our dreams. That's what we want. That's what we want.